Hey team, it's Crystal here, and I'm really excited to be coming to you with some of our top leaders on our team to talk to you this week for our weekly training about some struggles and how to overcome them. Often we get this kind of starry-eyed vision of the leaders on our team that they have it easy, that they just went straight to the top, that it's no big deal for them. And we all know that that's really honestly not true. And so I thought that if they could share their struggles that they dealt with as a new coach, and then the struggles that even maybe they're going through now as leaders and leading their teams, because we're all here at different places on a different point in our journey, that could really help you. So this is going to be the first installment of this, and we will do it again at some point, probably, I don't know, in a month or two, and have another group of people coming in and sharing with you their struggles and how they've overcome them, so that way we can help you to become better and to know that you're not alone and to be able to follow in their footsteps. So I am going to have, first off, Tracy start. She's going to introduce herself and then start and tell you about what she struggled with as a new coach. So go ahead, Tracy. Take over.
Hey guys, I'm Tracy Zussman. I am a 5-star elite coach, and I started coaching a little over a year ago. When I first started, I'm kind of an introvert. I don't really love talking to people, stepping out of my comfort zone. So one of the things that I really struggled with was initially, and I think a lot of people struggle with that right off the bat. It's kind of uncomfortable and not something that we're used to doing all the time. So the way that I started initially, I just started sharing my journey, and I had a few people that approached me, and I used those people kind of as guinea pigs, if you will, and just got used to talking to them and really carried on conversations and kind of got more comfortable and more confident in speaking to people and talking about my journey and talking about the program I was doing right off the bat for the first maybe month or so. After that, after I became a little more comfortable doing that, then I was able to reach out more to the people that were liking my posts and commenting on my posts. I felt like that was a little bit easier than still doing just a cold invite. And so basically, I got comfortable talking to the people that approached me. From there, I kind of transitioned to the people that I knew had some interest, got more comfortable talking to them. Sharing my journey, since they were already interested, it made it easier to kind of talk to them. And then from there, I was able to transition to doing more just cold reach outs or cold invites or forming with people that I had no idea if they were interested or not, but just wanted to reach out because I thought maybe I could help them. So that's kind of how I got more comfortable. And obviously, as you progress in your journey, you get more comfortable with it too. You become more confident in yourself with all the personal development that we do. You really learn a lot about yourself and how you can help people and how you can relate to other people. So that's kind of, I've come, ridiculously far in my comfort talking to people and my confidence in what I have to offer them and share with them. So it makes it a lot easier to reach out and invite people.
Awesome. Thanks, Tracy. Yeah, no, I think that's the biggest thing is people are so I don't want to be salesy. I don't want to, and then the inviting, it really is all about perspective. And when you take the perspective of you know what, not everyone's going to want to do this, but who am I to judge, and I need to put this opportunity out there because I know what it's done for me, so why wouldn't I want to share that with everybody else? So that's always really important, so thanks for sharing that. Okay, Kristen, how about you introduce yourself and share your struggles that you had when you first started?
Hey guys, I'm Kristen Marshall. I am a 1-star diamond coach, and I have been doing this 10.5 months now, 11 months next week. So I was a little bit different than Tracy coming on, very similar to Tracy, but also a little bit different in the sense where I'm extremely extroverted. That's just my type of personality. And I'm also type A personality, which I think played a lot into my struggles in the beginning because I'm very much one of those people that's type A. I want things to happen. I want them to happen in the here and now. And so in the beginning, my struggle when I first started wasn't so much talking to people because I felt super, super confident. I had done the 21-day fix. I had confidence in our programs. I felt like I was proof of the product. My struggle wasn't reaching out to people and talking to them so much as it was that I just felt like I had to take on everything. And so I tried to do everything in the beginning. And that's a surefire way to like burn yourself out, which is almost what I did in this business. I went strong, I went hard, and a few months in, I had to sort of gut check myself and say, I am not setting a pace where I can maintain this over the long haul, and that's what I want to do, is be in this business for the long haul. So I was trying to just be a little bit crazy with everything, get my blog up and running, get my Coach Like page up and running, be reaching out to however many people a day, getting my team up and running, everything, which of course we all want that. But I think the biggest thing that I had to tell myself and that I learned in the process was that I needed to set a pace that I could maintain. And it was okay that I was feeling that way, because I think the first part about it was realizing it and evaluating where I was at and evaluating my needs for myself and my business, but also saying, where can I go from here to not burn out? How can I make my business better? And for me, that was taking a little step back from trying to do everything and just saying, okay, realistically, what can I do every day to better myself and to better my business? And I got to the point in my business where I started to make it a priority to, of course, do my vital behaviors, but in addition to those things, just try to do one thing a day to move my business forward. So instead of trying to tackle a to-do list that had 20 things on it, because the next day there was always still going to be the 20 things, and the day after that and the day after that, I started getting to the point where what's my most valuable priority that I want to do that day, and what is one new thing that I want to learn today. So what I started to do, so that there are some like tangible takeaways here, is that I started to go onto YouTube, or one day I started to go onto Pinterest, or I would seek out a top coach and kind of peruse through their wall and see what they were doing, because we always hear success leaves clues. That's what I wanted to search out. I made it a priority every single day to do one of those things and learn something new. So I literally would go to Pinterest, or I literally would go to YouTube and type in new coach training or challenge group training, or whatever it is that I was searching for. And my goal at the end of each and every day was to learn just one thing, so I could pocket or put away one new thing in my arsenal so that I could better myself, I could teach my team, and then at that rate, it was a much better pace for me moving forward. I didn't feel like I had to learn absolutely everything at once, but I was still continuing to kind of bulk up my resources and my tools, for my business, and therefore everybody's, on my team's business as well. So I think I still have a little ways to go on that. I'm still always going to be type A and want to get a million things done, but we're always a work in progress. That's what this business is.
Exactly, and that's a great point. Like, we can never expect to be experts. They say in order to be an expert, you have to spend 10,000 hours on something. And so, honestly, like, we're all works in progress, and that's the greatest thing, is that none of us are perfect. We're all coming in with baggage. We're all coming in with different flaws and everything else. But the good thing is that guess what? This business doesn't judge. Anyone can be successful, and that's the story, is you go along and you share it and you work with what you have and you focus on that personal development, and that is going to be huge. I think, too, you brought up a really good point, Kristen, often when people start this business, you're super excited, and you're like either really excited about the results that you're getting, or you're just really excited about the opportunity to help people, and you're like in this community and everything else, that it's like really and you just like you start to dive into things, and it's easily overwhelming. And so a lot of people let that stop them because they just think, oh, I'm not cut out for this, or whatever, rather than readjust and refine the process, which is what you did. So taking that step, I think, is really important, and making sure that, because that's something that a lot of new coaches will experience for sure. I know I did, definitely. So thanks for bringing up that point. Okay, Molly, why don't you introduce yourself and then share your new coach struggle that you went through?
It's hard to choose. I think my biggest new coach struggle was fear overall, because I have always been a career person. Like I, had good jobs, and so I think the fear of stepping out on my own and trying to build a business, and the fear of maybe failing at that, because it was something that I realized pretty quickly after becoming a coach and starting the new coach training with Crystal. I realized pretty quickly that it was something I really, really wanted to do, and I really wanted to do it full time. Like when Crystal told me that Christy Curtis had, quit her full time job after a year or a year and a half, I was like, oh, I need to do that. Like I want to do that. So that fear, though, was, I had a bunch of different fears, because I also had a fear of my employer finding out what I was doing. I had to stay private on Facebook. I had to stay private on social media for a while. So I think fear, if I had to pick a word or pick a topic, was probably the biggest thing that I had to overcome. So I did it slowly but surely. I had to keep kind of gnawing away at the different pieces of it. The inviting piece of it, the rejection piece of it was, that fear was hard for me. I didn't want to be salesy. I didn't want to feel that way. But at the same time, I was a total word vomiter. Like didn't know what to say, didn't know what to do. So I would just give everybody like all of the information. So some of the classic things that we see with new coaches are the things that I experienced as well. But I think that fear over time just eroded as I became more and more confident in what I was doing, the people I was helping, the business that I was building, and the fact that this is what I feel like I'm meant to do. So I think it just took a lot of time, a lot of personal development, and a lot of consistency doing the things that I need to do day in and day out in order to build a business. So I'm currently sitting at Diamond, but tomorrow I'll be 1-star qualifying again. Yay. And I have my husband's business center to 6 coaches, so on my way to 2-star, and just keep plugging.
Awesome. Yeah, I think, that's huge, is because fear paralyzes so many people. I just made a post about that. I think it was yesterday or today, or maybe it hasn't gone up yet. I don't know. But it definitely paralyzes so many people. But the biggest thing that you need to do in order to get out of the fear, I know you said like personal development and that kind of stuff too, for sure is really good. But like you said, it's just taking action. Like kicking fear in the face, taking action. And again, it's okay if you fail. It's okay but you need to fail forward. So like maybe you're afraid to post live video and you post it. I was just I sent a video that I did when I first started coaching, and I was like, I watched it today. I was like, I was horrible. I need to erase this stuff. But it's true. You have to start somewhere. It's just like the whole expert thing that we talked about with Kristen. So you have to start somewhere, and we're all in that same thing. So you might look to these coaches and say, well, I'm not like them. I'm not that good at this, that, or whatever. They probably weren't either, and they probably had a lot of growth to do also. And so it's just whether or not they chose to dive in and how fast they did it. That's why they had the success that they did. So thank you for sharing that, because that's something that definitely really stops a lot of coaches and just holds them back for so long from that success and moving forward. Okay, so let's go on to now, as a leader, and you're leading your team, you have other people that you're developing and bringing up. What would you say that, we'll start with Tracy, but what would you say is your biggest struggle now, and what are you doing to overcome that?
All right, so it's kind of funny because I feel like my biggest struggle now is what Kristen struggled with in the beginning. And it basically is organizing the things that we have to do as coaches. So as you move along and you grow a team, you develop leaders, your team expands, you end up having a lot of people under you that are counting on you and relying on you and looking to you for leadership. And there's a lot of things that you want to do for them, but you kind of have to, again, figure out what is going to move your business forward the best and what is going to pay off in the end. So that's kind of what I've been struggling with lately, and a couple things that have really helped me. One, the first thing I do every day before I start thinking about anything else is get my 3 vital behaviors in. So I get my workout done first thing in the morning. I get my inviting in. I listen to my personal development on my way into work, and then I drink my shake on my way into work, and bang, that's done. And I know that's one thing that's going to move my business forward. The other thing that I've done recently is I've created a schedule for myself. I'm the type of person that needs a schedule. I don't know that everyone's like that necessarily, but I literally broke down like each day what I want to do week to week. So my work schedule is a little crazy, and it changes every week. So I'm not saying like Monday I have to do this and Tuesday I have to do this, but I have like a 24-hour shift I work every week. On that day, this is the minimum of what I want to get done, and so on and so forth. And I schedule everything from my workouts to my personal development, when I'm going to get that done, to when I'm going to get my inviting done, to when I'm going to meal prep, when I'm going to go to the grocery store. Like, everything is planned out. That way I'm not missing anything. And then the stuff that I want to get done week to week to week, like checking in with my challengers, checking in with my coaches, listening to the national wake-up call, the stuff that needs to happen every week to move my business forward is on my schedules. I'm not forgetting about it. I'm not letting it slide that week and hoping to do it next week. Those are my non-negotiables every week. And that's really kind of helped me feel more organized and not feel like I have like squirrel brain all the time.
Yeah, I think as a woman and as moms, it's easy to have that squirrel. I know that I still struggle with that. And one of the great things that I heard on a podcast, I think it was on MLM Nation, but one of the great things I heard from somebody, she's not even a Beachbody coach, but just in business in general, as a woman, as a mother, all that kind of stuff, was that embrace the chaos. Don't try to fight it necessarily, but embrace it. And then, like you said, focus on priorities, Tracy. Like, you have these non-negotiables. I think Kristen said you'll always have a list of like a million things to do. Like, just embrace it. Because I know for a long time for me, I was always like, how do I get out of this? How do I get this better? How do I become so I'm like whatever? And not to say that you can't have, like, I have times where I relax and stuff like that, that's for sure. But just embrace the chaos and know that it's not always going to be like this really picture perfect, pretty little thing. Like, at the stage of life that a lot of us are at, not everyone on the team is a mom, obviously, or whatever, but a lot of us are. And so that's just part of it. That's just part of it. So to not think that you're alone, but just to run with it and work with it and that kind of thing too. And I think also one of the things, we had 2 top 10 people at our Super Saturday this past weekend, Tracy. Then they said the same exact things as you, is they schedule everything in, and then the 3 vital behaviors are the non-negotiables. Obviously, like, that's the fuel. Actually, it's 4 vital behaviors now. That was the big thing everyone kept correcting everybody on, because the make sure that we recognize. But that they said that they schedule in everything, even to the point, and I was like, I struggle with scheduling. Like, I don't like to have that much structure. I'm kind of like the anti-whatever person. But they had said, the 2 top 10 people, they said that they even schedule in, date night with or to watch their favorite show or whatever. Like, they watch their show with their husband, or they schedule in time at the park, or they schedule that kind of stuff in too. And so I think that that's really great as far as for time management also. So thanks for sharing that. Okay, Kristen, how about you? What are you going through right now, and how are you overcoming that?
So it's kind of funny because, well, first of all, I have 2 parts, but I think it's kind of funny because for those of you that don't know, Tracy and I are college roommates, so I think we're feeding off each other here, because I'm going to go opposite what she said, or actually I'm going to go back to what she said for her first struggle when she started, which has kind of been a struggle of mine lately for whatever reason. I don't know what the deal is, but I kind of have been getting in my own head, and it's come down to inviting, which sounds crazy, but at some point we all have this warm market that narrows, and you start to feel like, who else am I going to invite? And so for me, I feel like that's where I've been struggling the past few months. But then what I had, like a little epiphany month or week or whatever you want to call it last month, where I started to just kind of evaluate again, be like, well, why am I having a smaller market? First of all, probably because I'm not expanding to the point where I was in the beginning and expanding my network in different ways, meaning my Coach-like page, my personal Facebook page, Instagram, all the different platforms that I'm using. So that was a big piece of it. I just had a moment where I was like, well, duh, because I'm not expanding the way that I should be. So therefore, it's affecting a lot of my inviting. And the other piece of my inviting struggles within the last couple months has been me getting in my own head. I will admit that my personal development over the last couple months has not been as strong as it was prior to that as well. So that also was a moment where I stopped, I evaluated, I did a little gut check, and I said I have to get back to my personal development. So my point here being that my struggle was inviting, I went back to the basics. That's how I feel like I sort of got over it. So let me just backtrack a little and say that when I felt like I was struggling with inviting and seeing results, I was still doing my non-negotiables. I was still doing my vitals, although maybe not as well as I had done before. I was still hitting Success Club, although I was hitting Success Club 6, Success Club 8, Success Club 10, which is still great to move the business, but I had been hitting such high numbers before. And then last month, I just said, I've got to do something about this. I've got to get back to the vitals, and I've got to do them well. I've got to get back to the basics. So I went back to work on my personal development. I made sure to do a minimum of 10 minutes of reading, listening to my podcast, not missing a national makeup call, and finding a way to get those in my life in a productive way. When I'm driving, when I'm doing my workout, things like that. So it doesn't feel like extra work. It just feels like I'm integrating it in a very natural way. And I also made some adjustments. So I was in my own head because I was like, all right, I used this message or this hey girl or this script, and maybe it wasn't working for me. And maybe part of it was because it wasn't me. I was trying to use somebody else's. So I went back to the basics, but I tried to readjust and redefine kind of my message and refine it a little bit. And then I was able to push harder and hit Success Club 22 last month, which was feeling more like me and what I had been doing previously. So that was a struggle. So just getting back to the basics there. The other struggle that I'm kind of been going through now is kind of getting momentum and motivation going on my team, because as you progress in the leadership rank, as you progress and continue to recruit and bring people on, like Tracy said, people are looking to you for leadership, and it can be hard sometimes not to feel like there's some negativity around you. There's also positivity, of course, but all of those things are feeding into you, and it's hard sometimes as a leader to be like, is this a reflection of me, of my leadership, of what I'm doing, and how can I get momentum and motivation going on my team? And so you listen to people, you take it in, you try to adjust, but at the end of the day, what I've been trying to do, so this is a current struggle, I have to say, I haven't fixed this yet, I'm still working on it. But in my mind, I think I'm in a better place because of my personal development. So the only thing that I know I can do to get above kind of all of this and to kind of get the momentum going and the motivation going is first and foremost, be present for my team. I have to be consistent. I have to be showing up, and I have to lead from the front. And I'm not going to lead from the front unless I'm doing those vital behaviors and unless I am getting back to just the basics. So that's really what my focus has been, is getting back to the basics, cutting out some of the extra stuff if I feel like I really can't give it 100%, and refining what I'm doing, because I'm not going to be able to lead from the front and lead my team and get momentum going if I'm not doing the vitals. So that's the work in progress that's currently happening for me.
And that's a tough adjustment. Like, that's the part of that leadership. Like, we've talked about this in some of our leadership meetings or some of our leadership trainings and Zooms and stuff, but to express this to the whole team is that often what happens is, like, we hit diamonds, and often we think we need to go into management mode. I have this team. I have to take care of them, which is very true. Like, you do want to mentor them and help them and bring them along. But the best thing that you can do is lead by example and set that pace and set that example. And they always say, they, as in like Beachbody, as in like top coaches, as in like mentors, all that kind of stuff. 80-20, right? You work on, and it sounded crazy to me when I first heard this, but you work 80% of the business is spent on you, and 20% is on your team. And then often, because we have, as coaches, and we want to pay it forward and we want to help people, we have huge hearts, and so we often want to help everybody and bring everybody along, but you need to, and Molly had said this too one time to me, it's really great, you need to match someone's commitment level, you need to match their energy of what they're putting in, their effort and stuff like that. So if they are putting forth effort, then you match that and say, I will help you and I will bring you right along the way. You are not leaving anybody behind, but you are not dragging anybody with you either, and that is really important as a leader, because I know it's very easy to get caught up in the, oh, but they could be so good, I just thought they would have it, but they're not putting forth, and it's not necessarily a Success Club thing or anything, but it's the effort that they're putting forth. Are they showing up every day? Are they putting forth that energy into it? So that's really important to keep in mind too. I love how you guys all have such very different issues and perspectives and all that kind of stuff. This is like so perfect. Okay, Molly, wrap us up and tell us what you're going through.
So my biggest struggle at this point is attracting coaches, and not just coaches, but like working coaches. So I currently have I have two people that would consider themselves working coaches. One was actually through Beachbody, it was a lead, and he's super green and, you know, not even an Emerald coach yet. Maria has been phenomenal. She, you know, was kind of, she started and she was like, I think I'm just going to do this as a hobby. And then she like hit Success Starters and, you know, earned her free ticket to Summit and hit Success Club 10 for like 6 months straight and just did a great job. She's a stay-at-home mom of 3, and whatever. She's a working coach for sure. But I have a couple of hobby coaches and the rest are discount coaches. So my biggest struggle is attracting working coaches. And so I've started, since the end of February, I've parted ways with one of my 2 employers, and so I was able to open up my Facebook to be public. I was able to do a like page and really start promoting that and really put things out there on Instagram. So I've been expanding my network through my like page. I'm investing in that by promoting the page. So I think I have like 1,500 followers on that now, so that's increased significantly. I invested in Instagram, so I use that to increase my Instagram following. But I'm really struggling to find people who want to work the business with me. So that's my biggest thing right now. I'm really playing with it all the time. And I would kind of echo and say that I also am struggling to get my team motivated. You know, Maria's been kind of in a low point, but she has 2 really good working coaches who are both, well, one really good and one fairly strong. So they're both, I think, at 4 coaches each. So, you know, just getting everyone motivated and I guess trying to promote a Success Club environment in our team.
So, and I think too, like what you and I have talked about as far as like really honing in to find working coaches is just really starting to aim to attract your niche market, like your avatar, whatever you might want to call it, but the person who you are. So often we come into this, we want to help everybody and anybody. And not that we're ever going to turn anybody away for fitness opportunity for helping. I mean, we can with coaching because we don't necessarily want everybody on our team. And when you start thinking in that mentality, like that will start to help you to move forward and start to like speak to those people specifically, not to include everybody, but you're speaking to the people that you want to attract. So you start writing down the qualities that you want. And then you ask yourself, am I leading by example for that? Am I possessing those qualities? And then you start seeking out those people. So whether it be groups or you go to certain pages, like for me, one of my things is kind of like more of like the, you know, don't laugh at me, but the hardcore fitness like people or whatever. And so like, for example, I'll go on to Strong Fitness Magazine or Oxygen Fitness Magazine. I go on their website and I'll look at who is commenting on their stuff and who is, you know, going through that and look to connect with them, whether it be through Instagram or through Facebook. So you start seeking out more people that are who you want, who you are, so you can relate to them, and that's really going to help you. So as you're speaking and sharing your story about coaching, and that's the other thing that Molly and I have talked about as well, is if you're, you know, struggling with recruiting working coaches and people who are more like you, is making sure that you are talking about coaching on a regular basis. And like Molly said, she was kind of stuck in a position where she couldn't for a long time, but I've known that I've seen her grow even as she started to be able to open up and to do that. In just the few months that she's been able to do that, she's grown so much already. So that's huge. Like, you need to be talking about coaching in some sort of fashion, in some sort of way, every single day. And the last thing I want to say before we close is the biggest objection or excuse that I hear to that is, I'm not really successful yet, I don't earn a huge income. Well, guess what? None of us did when we first started. Maybe some of us still aren't or whatever. You know, it depends on where you're at in the business. It takes a while to build up that compound effect. I mean, now I'm earning a substantial income, but that took me the 3 years it was to get here, you know. So it's, none of us are there in the beginning, but we all had to talk about coaching at some point. So you talk about the personal development aspect, you talk about the community aspect, you talk about how you've gotten better and you've risen to the occasion because of the people that you're surrounding yourself with. You talk about your vision with coaching. You do little tidbits. I took somebody on our team, I just shared a post. This is not from me, this is from somebody else on our team. I forget who it was though, so sorry, I can't give you credit. But it was, you know, I just posted, it says, some people want fancy jobs, important titles, and big offices. Meanwhile, all I want to wear is yoga pants, change lives. All I want to wear is yoga pants, change lives, and be present in my kids' lives. Everyone has a dream, right? Like, that doesn't say, become a Beachbody coach or anything else like that. But that is expressing, kind of creating that lifestyle, all that kind of thing of what coaching entails. That's one of the jabs that we've been talking about in the jab, 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 right hook. It's all about planting those seeds on a regular basis. That's not being salesy or in your face or anything else, but that is how you plant that seed. You create that lifestyle that people are attracted to, that they want to become a part of, and that is how you consistently make that happen. So I am really stoked that you guys were the ones who first said, like, hey, I'm going to get on and do this, and took action, because this was perfect, because you guys were also very different as far as what you expressed. So I think this is going to be a really, really great training to bring to the team and that everyone will really benefit from. So I hope you guys have all enjoyed this, watching this training, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to post below, and one of the 4 of us will absolutely answer it. Have a great rest of the day.